Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris Bonner here, Power Training TV, everything power athletic related. So I got a great question from a guy. He was explaining to me that his son was experiencing muscle cramps at the end of his football game recently. It was a humid environment, probably got around second half. Hamstring starts to lock up. Let me go this 3 parts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of talk about what it exactly is, what we can do to prevent, and what we can do if it's already happening to you to help out with these muscle cramps. So if you're unfamiliar with what these are, actually science doesn't even know exactly what it is. But really what we believe is, one, you're dehydrated, lack of water, H2O, and then you're deficient in certain amount of minerals. So sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium seem to be the ones that contribute to these muscle cramps when you're depleted of those. If we want to get into the prevention, okay? So real quick, before I get into prevention, I want you guys to think about this. You typically see this in the power athlete and in these sports. And what you see is, you see these guys who practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday really hard. They break for a day or two, maybe have a walkthrough, and then they play their game. That's usually what you see with, as far as, you know, you're not going hard full speed the day before the game. And what happens is when they're going hard in the beginning of the week, they're sweating out all of this. You know, they're losing the water, they're losing the sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, and during that they're replenishing it. But then those 2 days that they're basically not sweating as much, a lot of kids won't stock up on these electrolytes, okay, and these minerals. So what happens is when they hit the game, boom, they don't have these. They were depleted for those first 3 days out of the picture, and then all of a sudden they try to compete. So think of your body like this. You want to prepare. The same way a marathon guy prepares, eats carbs before the night, you want to do this same thing with electrolytes. So what I mean, I kind of just drew out a quick map for you guys to follow. 2 days prior, so say you play Saturday, Thursday, Friday, twice that day, maybe morning and afternoon, I want you to drink maybe like a 12-ounce Gatorade that has enough sodium, has enough electrolytes, and it has obviously the water that'll help you out. Drink water throughout the entire day. You should, I remember guys holding like a gallon of water, walk around with it, whatever you need to do. Day of competition, 1 to 2 hours before, you should be drinking that same H2O carbohydrate solution. So like I said, Gatorade, drink like a 32-ounce one, like 2 hours before, just start sipping on it. You should be drinking water all that day. It will not hurt to get a couple bananas in, because that obviously has the potassium, and that is, I know guys, people who even take potassium pills. However, if you happen to have one during the competition, here's a couple things that I suggest that you could immediately. On the on-site of it happening, say it's your hamstring or something like that, and it happens, boom, it's a humid night, you're in the 4th quarter, you need to perform. Let me tell you a story real quick. When I was at the combine this past year, I met a guy who was really awesome to me. Shout out to this guy. His name was Dion Anderson. He was a former fullback for the Cowboys, and he was actually competing in the same combine I was. Great guy, generous as hell, very helpful. We linked up, everything was cool. I was practicing. Our group actually ran the 40 last, okay? So it kind of screwed us over, but after our shuttle run, in the midday Florida sun, we were practicing. I was practicing the 40, and my calf just started to lock up on me really tight. It just locked up, and he actually, you know, he immediately started to come over and help me out. And what he was doing was he was basically massage. He was kneading it, kind of, you know, he was helping me stretch it out, and he was kind of digging into it, increasing the blood flow. So anything that you know, kneading into that muscle, foam rolling, give it a little bit of static stretching. I also like P&F stretching, where you're contracting, relaxing. Anything to break up that muscle tension and start increasing the flow through that muscle. But immediately when you start to do this, you need to replenish that muscle with Gatorade, maybe some kind of H2O carbohydrate solution. get some potassium back in there. Like I said, trainers will give you potassium pills. You could maintain drinking water, but really at that point, I would sip Gatorade throughout that game as well. All right, make sure you're getting that in you, and you should be able to avoid that. If you're properly stretched, you should feel fine. And that should be about it. I know that you guys might be at the high school level. I know some guys at the college and pro levels can get an IV during halftime or something like that, or if they're experiencing cramping. Not everybody can receive that. So really try to take the proper actions to prevent it. I think this is the most important step. And like I said, after those days of depleting and sweating, you want to restock up on those minerals and stay hydrated for that competition. I hope this helps. Check it out, try it out. Chris Barner, Power Training TV.